speaking of some welcome changes from the community, I mean, what about dual spec? Considering that level 40 brings tons of new talents, abilities, rune combinations, and now even more runes being implemented, it's going to be crucial that we truly experience the essence of Season of Discovery with having more flexibility within our character whenever we'd like to.
Yeah, it's hard to please
look at
everyone.
classes that have multiple role types that require a variety of different gear, like druids, shamans, or even paladins. I think one of the greatest reasons to play a hybrid class is really having the ability to flex and play whatever your group would require you to play. This is easily the most heavily requested feature within our comments section and on the forums, and it seems that we're getting more and more teases that it may be coming soon.
I think we're getting it 100%.
On Twitter, we had a user asking if we can please get dual spec later on in Season of Discovery, and this was actually liked by Agrin, the head director for Classic Season of Discovery. Not only that, it was mentioned in an interview with multiple developers that it's a very strong consideration that it could be coming. I mean, could you picture how fun it would be if you're out in the open world or inside of a dungeon and you could just change your gear, your runes, and even swap out to another spec all on the go to cater and play to however you want? I don't know about all you, but I'm in desperate need of having a dual spec as an option for the next phase, and I'm definitely willing to pay gold for it. Speaking of spending gold on character progression...
How much should dual talent cost? I feel like 1,000's a lot. 1,000 seems like a lot. Maybe like 500 or 250? 200? I think 1,000's a lot, man. For a lot of the norms, 1,000's a lot. 250 max. Yeah, maybe 250 or 200. 100G? 100G, I'd take it. 750? Dude, not a lot of people have that much though. 1 million? Dude, people are 100% gonna buy gold if it's 1,000, man. 100G? Yeah, 100G sounds reasonable. 100G max, same as the mount. Yeah, I like that.
And when it comes to mounts coming inside of Phase 2, we were told by developers in an early interview over at BlizzCon that they could be potentially changing the prices for mounts to make it much more easily accessible and not so much of a grind to the player base. Well, lo and behold, I guess this is something that is already in effect. I mean, if you go right now to your riding trainer in Mount Salesman, you can see that the prices for mounts are roughly about 50% cheaper. With the training being previously 20 gold and buying your mount 100 gold, which now you can see on screen here, the cost for the actual mount being roughly around 40 gold, depending on your reputation.
Wait, really? The mounts are cheaper? I didn't know that.
As well as the riding skill being cut in half, now being reduced to now 9 gold. So altogether, you were looking at about roughly anywhere between 45 to 50 gold
just like
to acquire your mount next phase, which is a massive difference to
Damn,
what
I did not know that.
Classic. So it seems like we're going to be saving a nice chunk of change, and let's just hope that it's for good reason, and they add an additional gold dump such as dual spec next phase. Okay, now on to the major headline of today. In our previous news video, we had a major open discussion about how we think Gnomeregan should be delayed on the launch of Phase 2 to really have the player base experience what the essence of Season of Discovery is all about. Enjoying the leveling, taking your time, partaking in the journey that is growing your character, progressing, exploring, discovering. These are all such crucial things in what makes an MMORPG so great, and it's something that should never be rushed and should be cherished. The man himself, Josh Greenfield, also known as Agrin, who
he always uses this picture. I feel like this is such a bad picture. He's doing him dirty, dude. I think it's great that they gave us a week to catch up, and then the raid releases not right away. I think that's good. I have zero complaint about that, because I do want to like have fun and not rush week 1 to get a lockout, right?
Head developer for Classic World of Warcraft partook to Twitter to ask an open question. He asked, should we delay the launch of Gnomeregan, the 10-player raid, by a week, or just have it open from day 1 of Phase 2? Why do you feel the way you do? Just trying to get a pulse check and some opinions to read. So first of all, we just got confirmed 100% that Gnomeregan is a 10-man raid, which is a very big confirmation, by the way, to those who don't know. And what else is shocking is that you mean to tell me that these developers for Season of Discovery are openly asking what the players want in terms of content release for the upcoming phases? I mean, they are doing an absolutely fantastic job, and my hats are completely off to these developers. There were so many responses to this Twitter thread that mostly agreed to Gnomeregan actually being delayed. Player stating, having the pressure removed to miss a reset and fall behind is a substantial quality of life which allows players to take their time and discover. Others saying, I think what makes me happy and excited about Season of Discovery is that I don't feel like I have to rush to the max level and raid log like every other state of the game feels like at the moment. I can explore the changes to a game I've loved for years. Even other super hardcore sweaty players saying, I'm a sweaty parser who will force myself to hit level 40 to get kills in
that's
on
probably
the
gonna be
first
me
lockout.
too.
But man, I would love to have way more fun leveling if there wasn't a rush to 40 with so much focus on that first lockout. Please delay it a week. It's only ever been good for the game. I mean, you may call me a nerd all you want or a geek, but I get goosebumps hearing people talk about how good it feels to take their time and enjoy a good old-fashioned
I don't know about goosebumps, but that's
because
cool.
that's how I feel also. I mean, this is what it's all about. The community coming together as one to enjoy something that's never been done before that once again, Blizzard is trying to revolutionize. For those of you that are worried about difficulty also, when it comes to Gnomeregan, you should also understand that the developers are talking about this as well. Agron states that it's important to set some very clear expectations. The raid will definitely be cleared quickly, 100%. We're not here in Season of Discovery to make hyper difficult raid content in these level up raids. It might not be easy for everyone, but hyper organized groups and comps will get it down. Which honestly, this should be a real relief to most of the player base out there. Because listen, don't get me wrong, I love super difficult content in raids that require progressing and some time to put into and work through. But if you want those sort of things, these level up raids are just simply not going to be that, and that's a really good thing. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, we're only level 40, and I'm sure things are going to get really crazy as we, reach those higher levels in Season of Discovery. I do think raids are going to get tuned up bit by bit in terms of difficulty, but they're definitely going to make sure that that aspect isn't overtuned so that everyone can try to partake and have a good time. They actually even reinstated this by Agron responding to Drast, stating, there is no point to the race at all. The raid will be cleared within the hour no matter how you implement it. All it does is ruin another potential for people having...
That's exactly what I said too, and people were saying, really, Sid, because we're on a race. It's like, dude, it's classic WoW, man.
A fun race.
I think it's a good decision they
responds
made.
to this with, the race won't be much of a race for a guild like yours, but making super hard content for these level up raids is just not a goal here. You and yours may blast through it. Normal players may struggle a bit. You won't.
But on a race? Yeah, you can still race though. Isn't that more fair? Think of it this way. People that take off work or don't work, they're gonna get to 40 and be able to do it first, right? If they didn't put a week limit into it. But if they put a week limit into it, everyone can get to 40 and then you guys all race together. And I feel like that's more skill oriented, I guess. I mean, the people that play more, they're gonna be more geared and have more runes, right? So you guys are gonna have advantage or edge still. So I don't think it's a bad thing for the people that still want to race. Like, you're gonna have better gear. Wouldn't you want like an equal like run? Everyone's like prepped up, and then you guys go kind of like a wrestling match or taekwondo match. Like you guys trained and then you go. I don't think it's fair for some people to have like more play time and they just get it done right away. I think this is more fair for the race. Fuck it, going to retail. Big Dog, who are you pretending for? You told me you only play retail, man. You've been in my chat every day, man.
And honestly, I couldn't be happier with his response here. I myself am a player that's genuinely skilled in World of Warcraft, and I'm not saying that to be some bragger or whatever, but
it's the same thing in retail too, man. You're literally pretending, dude. In retail, they give you a time after the launch, and then you do raid and PvP. Like, arena season doesn't start in week 1, right? I think this is for the better, man. Let people get to the max level, and then you do it later. Yeah.
Just to explain to you all that that's something that I'm not worried about in Season of Discovery. If I want a hard challenge, I'll just go to Retail WoW and run the hardest content available, but that's just something I'm not interested in here. I'm interested in the journey, story, progression, discovery, camaraderie with my friends, and creating incredible memories inside of the best version of WoW that I've played in many years. So I couldn't be happier that Agron, the head developer, is sticking up for the little guys like us that are looking to just find those key features once again in an MMORPG. So I'm here for the final time, ladies and gentlemen, on this topic to ask you this. What do you think about them having a week-long delay in Gnomeregan? Do you agree that
Waylaid's
it should be
gonna win.
delayed, or do you think it should be open on day one?
90%
Let us know in the
will
comment
go
section below,
delay.
because I'm dying to hear your opinions, and your voices should be heard. Moving on to another important topic, when it comes to the loot within raids inside of Season of Discovery, we may have a problem on our hands moving forward that I really hope the developers are going to address. What you're seeing on screen now is the epic two-handed item that can be received within the Black Fathom Deeps raid, and beside it is the Whirlwind Axe, which is easily one of the best weapons you can have as a warrior, being able to be used well within your level 40s. Another example is the Rod of the Sleepwalker that once again can be found within Black Fathom Deeps, and right next to it is the epic Staff of Jordan, which is the most iconic and powerful items you can...
Dude, this is stronger than Staff of Jordan. And that's more intellect, that's more spirit, and it's the same stat, but it has 5 shadow resist, so this is better, man. It's crazy.
In Classic WoW, leveling up. All 4 of these weapons, believe it or not though, are very similar in power, but the only difference is that the weapons and armor you can acquire from BFD can be used at level 25, while the others can be used midway through 30s, even sometimes in level 40s. The point I'm trying to make is that the items and gear quality...
Damage is better? Dude, you guys heard the one, like, Goosey, he's gonna be like, oh, the damage, the Staff of Jordan is better. And then he's gonna be a warrior with the Staff of Jordan or something. Watch.
inside of BFD is incredibly overtuned from what was normally acquired within Classic WoW. So not only are we going to be leveling up next phase much faster than we normally would, the gear we obtain is going to be pretty much negligible because nothing will be an upgrade within all of these dungeons as we level up until maybe Scarlet Monastery. And I gotta tell you, I don't see it being very fun not getting any gear upgrades while we're leveling up on our journey to 40. So right now, I feel like the developers are in a really tight spot when it comes to the regular classic loot that you're able to obtain. Should they maybe buff up the loot tables within the next set of dungeons to at least be able to keep up with the Black Fathom Deeps gear? Do they do something as crazy as dropping the item power of the gear we have now the second the phase launches? To be honest, this is something that I really don't even have an answer on how they can fix. If you have an idea,
I don't think they're gonna fix it. I think if we're geared to the teeth going into next phase, we just stay strong and go in, I think.
Please leave in the comment section below, but I think this is definitely going to be a problem. And once again, today is another day I'm waking up grateful that I'm not a game developer for a super tough game to make like World of Warcraft. So once again, shout out to all you guys working as hard as you can to please as many players as possible. So if you have an idea of what they could do or an opinion on it, let us know in the comment section below. Once again, with the coming of Phase 2, I'm sure we are going to get additional grinds for all of our characters. One of those grinds, though, I can strongly say with confidence, is going to be your reputation with the Durator Supply and Logistics rep, which is the brand new rep inside of Season of Discovery. I'm sure you all know the key way to grind out this reputation is by looting and completing Waylaid supplies by inputting certain items and turning them into a...
So have you guys grinded a lot of these? I feel like I should, but I have not done it. I think it's smart to get a little bit up ahead because there's definitely gonna be reputation purchases. And doing it right now would be smart so we don't have to do it later on at 40 and waste time. Like right now is the most downtime. So maybe we should work on these on our free time. Or maybe I should just stream where I just farm these all day long.
Supply representative. By doing so, you actually get some really nice gear, crafting recipes, and even runes for your character. And with all this being said, we're almost positive that in the coming phases, we're going to be seeing more rewards being added to this table to keep this reputation grind relevant and constant. Don't get me wrong, I love more content for any of my characters, and especially hard-earned grinds, but not just grinds that are tedious for no reason, and it seems I'm not the only one who feels this.
Chat, was there a limit how many you can hold? Is it 5 unique? I think I just turned it. I was thinking like maybe hold on to the big one so you get like free XP at the start.
This way. A user on the forums posted a discussion titled, "For the love of a loon, remove uniques from Waylaid supplies." They asked, what is the purpose of having these things being unique? Forcing the players to run back and forth between major sittings and grinding locations every...
No, I'm talking about when you fill them. When you fill them, you could have a lot more, no? Yeah, it does suck going back and forth. I would love to farm like 10 boxes and then go use all that 10. I think they should put like at least, yeah, a little bit increased number than 1 for sure. Unlimited if you complete. Wait, then we can just have unlimited stocked up and just turn them all in? Wait, that might be the play, man.
Time one drops. I get that carrying tons of them would just lead to the rep grind being done super quickly, but that's not a reason to only let us carry 1 at a time. But man, I really gotta agree with this one. He then goes on to say, at the very least, make it unique, able to carry up to 3 or something, or put a supply officer NPC in every single town that has an innkeeper. The current system is obnoxious and just time wasting. And man,
yeah, I
oh
hope
man,
they change
listen,
this.
if you guys are hearing this one, I gotta say, I think you guys are on the hot seat. I'm not cutting you slack on this one because I think the grind is great. I love farming things. I love grinding out reputations for great rewards. I mean, it gives me a reason to stay on my main character, which I never want to hop off of, but doing something like this 1 at a time just makes it frustrating and tedious right now instead of actually workable and really fun. I mean, maybe you could lower the drop rate to sort of compensate for this. I'm not really sure exactly, but I love the idea of at least being able to carry 2, 3, or 4 of them at one time, because that would at least make it feel better going back to town to fill multiple of them out. I don't know. Hopefully you guys are paying attention to that one. I'm not letting you off the hook there. Moving on now to the community part of our video, where we take all of your opinions and comments from below in our comment section, shout them out, and discuss them. So if you have something creative, constructive, or even innovative towards Season of Discovery that you want the developers and your fellow friends and players to hear about, let us hear about it in the comment section below so we could show it off to everybody here. Starting off first, we have Sunny Caribou stating, I think it'd be cool for a cross-phase quest chain that ultimately leads up to a legendary. For example, the Void Touch Armor quest chain gives you a chest with a Void Crystal inside, which sounds a lot like the Void Crystal that Mograine purified into light crystals to create the Ashbringer. Imagine a Gnomeregan quest chain that adds to this, and then a Scarlet Monastery quest chain, so on and so forth, culminating in the player receiving something like
Damn, I don't know if I like that. I feel like legendaries are cool, but Paladins getting Ashbringer, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. Paladins will get Ashbringer. I'm a Paladin main, and I don't know if I want that or not. It sounds really cool, but sounds too powerful at the same time. Yeah, I don't know.
I do have to admit, I love the idea of a super thought-out story that travels across all phases of Season of Discovery. I just don't love the idea of the reward being everyone getting a legendary item.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest mistakes they've ever made in retail WoW was everyone receiving these super incredible legendary items or artifact weapons like they did in Legion.
No, I think Legion was awesome. Legion was fucking awesome. You can't diss that. Legion, every class having their own base and the weapons, I think that was badass. But I don't know if it belongs in Classic WoW is what I'm trying to say.
Which sadly led to those items just being less iconic due to everyone having them. But man, having maybe a class-specific quest line through the entirety of Season of Discovery, unique to every class, is something that I'm all for and would absolutely love to see. I'm not asking for some super in-depth quest line like something from Star Wars The Old Republic, but just something to make it feel great that I chose my specific class and make me partake maybe in some more class pride. I don't know, maybe I'm just spitballing here and reaching for the stars, but definitely something to be considered for sure. Next up, once again, we have Black Cleaver stating, I'd love to see Gnomeregan delayed a week. There are already lots of reasons to be quick to level cap, and getting an extra lockout or two doesn't need to be one of them. Also, I'd feel awful getting something like Totemic Recall for Shamans on a rune unless there are rune slots dedicated only to quality of life. These sort of things should be just spell books in the game. And oh man, do I agree with this one, ladies and gentlemen. I desperately want there to be some minor quality of life improvements to classes in Classic WoW, such as Paladin blessings being longer than 5 minutes, Shaman buffs being longer as well, better mage food and water being able to be conjured, and so many other things across all classes. But the thing is
I think 2-minute warrior buff and 5-minute paladin buff. Oh, dude, it's so annoying.
I just don't want those to take up rune slots.
At least 10
and take
minute.
away from the opportunity for us to get some really awesome
10-minute paladin
to
buff
add to our classes. So maybe instead they can add it as drops inside of the raid and spell books, or maybe even class-specific quest lines. I don't know. I think something like that would be a really, really awesome idea. Love that one.
I like
Next up,
that.
we have Any Town stating, has anyone asked Blizzard for target dummies yet? I honestly expected to see them in the halls of Ironforge or Elwynn Forest. And dude, how great would it be for there to actually be target dummies? I would love to just simply practice my rotation or something really cool while I'm, you know, standing inside of Ironforge, Stormwind, or Orgrimmar. I mean, to find out the best version of my preferred playstyle would be. I
wouldn't
really
mind
don't
that.
like right now that the only way I could sort of test that out in a real environment is pretty much on raid night when I'm trying to do my best to push
What
as high as I
rotation?
can with my guild. I would really love target dummies inside of SOD, and I really don't see it being too complicated or much of a problem to implement. I mean, I'm sure everyone out there could agree
You
with
know what I want more than this? A dueling area. A dueling area where if you put the flag down, it resets your cooldown immediately. Every private server has that. I think Blizzard doesn't add it because they're afraid of people abusing it, but just make it where if you leave that area, all your cooldowns go back in cooldown so that you can't like get teleported or abused. But I would love that so much, man.
me on that one, that target dummies aren't bad for the game, and so hopefully that could be a thing. Finally, we have Vertigo stating, back in the day, a hybrid class was never supposed to perform as good as a non-hybrid class in terms of DPS. In
Yeah, I should post
EverQuest,
it on
we
the
referred
forum.
to that as a hybrid class tax, which meant if your class can heal, tank, melee DPS, or range DPS all at once, then you should never be as good at doing any of those compared to a class that can only do tanking or melee DPS. A straight, pure healer like Priest should always be better than the Shaman healing because the Shaman can do everything. And by the way, this is something that I definitely understand in the old school style of MMOs, which World of Warcraft definitely has and is definitely partaking in. I mean, we're all sitting here playing a 20-year-old game that's just being touched upon and improved, so I think it's really important to understand in terms of balance. Hybrid classes should never be on top of the DPS meters over non-hybrid classes, and this is something that I really started learning as I matured playing MMORPGs. I mean, for example, I know when I play World of Warcraft, I know to expect Enhancement Shamans should never be on the top of the DPS list. They should always be middle of the pack or maybe even below that in terms of DPS, simply because of how much utility I offer to my party and raid members. I know that Enhancement Shamans should never...
I would like enhancement shamans to pump. I don't know if I agree with that. I think it's cool when another class and Rogue or Warrior just pumps more too. I think they did a great design with Feral Druid, bringing Wind Fury, so they're like useful in terms of damage and brings utility, very good utility. I guess like Paladin brings buff, and Enhancement Shamans were the ones that brought Wind Fury, but Feral just kind of replaces that, so...
never keep up with hunters in terms of raw DPS. I mean, there was someone who commented the other day on our previous tier list video that they said that Ret Paladins were a really terrible DPS class and they really feel bad to play, and it really left me confused because Retribution Paladin has probably the most utility in the game in Classic WoW, even similar to Feral Druids, which have a crazy amount of utility. So just try to remember that when you're trying to pick a class, it's not all about your damage, and there's a lot more factors that come into play. By the way,
in raid, it's all about damage, man. Nobody cares about utility as a red. And they're there for auras, buffs. That's it, man. What is he cracking over here, chat? Bob? Yeah, when am I gonna fucking use Bob, man? Never. Oh, if someone's dying, I could probably use that or lay on hand, but it's almost like never I use it. Everyone's just pumping, and if you don't pump, you're not coming, right? It's kind of like Shaman too. They prefer bringing Pharaohs over Shaman because Pharaohs don't do shit. So when he says like utility that Shaman or Paladin bring, dude, I don't know about that one, man. Yeah,
Also,
you
if you
pump or
wanna take a
get dumb. Exactly. Like look at level 16 Nax. It's like all warriors and rogues in the DPS meter. You just bring the most of them.